Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to A Link to the Past Randomizer. Today we have A Link to the Past Randomizer League with the new Season 5. We're starting off with co-op all dungeons today. Facing off one another is Crystal Roller Crew, who is playing today, armlx, IBKarma. And over at the other side, the Strugglers, we have Joss and VixRyder. I'm Mesmer Hub. I'll be your commentator today, and along with me for the ride, we have Zenthos. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. And we are already starting off, and we're seeing some...
Hearts is tier 1.
Okay.
Seeing some pretty interesting things so far, with rupees being heart of the... I think that was prize crab. Nope, that was arrows. Never mind. But getting the sword off of Sanctuary is going to be a good thing for our runners today. That means they don't have to worry about much. If we get a Moon Pearl...
Oh, that's important.
In Uncle's Escape, part 1 of Escape at least.
This is kind of a quick thing that's kind of interesting here. All our ALTTPR League teams are all 3 people. All 6 players from both teams are actually present. We got the teammate, the third teammate from Crystal Roller Crew in the chat, and the third teammate from the Strugglers is helping us out here as one of our trackers on Restream. But yeah, so I guess the one big thing is for people that haven't seen a co-op race, do we want to go over what that actually means?
Yeah, a co-op race is basically you pairing up with a partner, and both of y'all are going to feed information to one another where items are located in order to finish the dungeon. Usually in this manner, you can do it in open settings, but the more common one is doing it with all dungeons. Sometimes you may see like 80 keys and whatnot, but this is one of the more standard ones.
Yeah, so it's the big thing is we got a ether over there, but we knew about that earlier actually. So one thing you'll see is that generally the 2 runners on the same team will spend a lot of time not in the same areas. They're going to try to check as many different locations in the world at the same time and only follow up with each other when critical items are found, and try to route them in as quickly as possible. So this particular mode is not necessarily about any one particular runner, but how well you can route 2 different players at the same time and coordinate the fastest possible overall time for both of you.
Yep. Convergence is the key here, so our runners, like you said before, looking to split up as often as possible, and that will allow them to cover a lot more ground and get some of the more key components to finishing up the seed.
That means if you're really wanting to see kind of an interesting seed, you want to see as much route divergence potential as possible, a non-linear seed where our runners can run all over the map in different directions at the same time and find things. Both our bottom runners here taking a death on purpose.
Yep, we call that death work. It makes it a lot easier to get back to the entrance of the castle. You may see that happen as well in dungeons if they do not have the mirror. It saves them a lot of time going back.
I missed it. Where was that sword?
The sword was in Sanctuary, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, well, that's an easy sword.
In Link's house. That's what it was.
Oh, the other starting location.
The other starting location.
It's a room you can save and quit to. That was the key thing. It's an easy sword.
Very, very easy sword to pull.
So, we do have a swordless mode later on in the league, but that's not going to be today.
And we do get a hammer in Kakariko Well. That's going to be very... Man, we just need gloves, and we could just skip Agena 1 for the time being until we have to deal with it after we get through Agana's Tower, which I'm hoping that will be the case today.
Yeah, the one thing is we do need to do Agina no matter what, because it is all dungeons, and Aga's Tower does classify as a dungeon.
And what you're seeing at the bottom is what our runners are doing is that they're trying to go through the second part of Escape without a lantern. And it's kind of hard to do so, but if you play this game a lot more often, you will get a solid understanding of where you need to go. Plus, the sword helps out as like a beacon, sort of to tell you where you need to like sort of press yourself against the wall to get moving. And look for the chest. And IBKarma saving a Quentin because he could not get a bomb, and it may be the case for VixRyder unless RNG just decides to be really generous with them. But yeah, getting rid of Dark Cross this early in this game will help out in a little bit for our top runners, which are still finishing up their Kakariko Village. They'll be very happy to have the hammer soon enough once they get up there. But where do you think? Well, we got South Shore to deal with, so where do you think our runners are going to go to now if you was paired up in a team right now?
I mean, I think you're right. Definitely, South Shore is going to be one of the big checks here. There's a lot of items. You're going to have to send someone here, but the question is, where does the other person go? Right? We've checked Kakariko. Do you go over to the eastern side, check Saha's closet? Then what? Right? Like you can't.
I would
send somebody into Eastern already.
I would face plant in the Eastern, to be honest. There's a lot more checks there, and you can always give the feedback to your teammate what chest that they need to open up for. It's like Eastern, if there was any other seed that was not co-op, can be easily avoided for the most part when you're doing the South Shore checks. Just in hope you get some items to open up something else. But in this case, if you want more divergence, you'll throw someone in the Eastern like as soon as possible. You could even go South Shore, then Agina's closet, and then save and quit and go on the Eastern. Which could be the case that Josh is doing right now for the strugglers. He's checking out Agina, and if nothing comes up over here, they can probably save and quit and start doing Eastern, or finish doing the rest of South Shore, since VixRyder is still doing their Kakariko checks.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen any other than the sword. We got a glove, right? No, we don't have a glove. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so we have the moon pearl, we have the hammer and a sword, but the thing is, what we were talking about earlier is that it's that glove that's really going to open things.
Yes, it will, because it opens up Dark World, and that will at least allow our runners into Village of Outcasts as well as Skull Woods, and perhaps a little bit of Hype Cave and the rest of the South area checks, such as Digging Game and Stumpy. So yeah, there's more checks to, at the very least, go for. So one of the runners can take the dive to do that.
Because we have the hammer and we'll have the glove, you can also have one runner start from the south entrance to Dark World and the other one at the north if you're both done the Light World portion. You can kind of meet in the middle to try to cover as much Dark World as possible at the same time. We are getting some out-of-logic swimming checks here.
Yeah, armlx deploying the fake flippers to see what our hobo will have for us. They do have quite a bit of money. Okay, they do have a lot of money, so
yep.
If they re-enter from here, they will most likely start going towards Duzora. They're looking to do a little bit more speed running degeneracy, is what I like to call it. Breaking the logic a little bit to open up to see if there's some crucial items hiding by a waterfall ferry, as well as Zora.
We just picked up 20 rupees from the guy under the bridge. I guess he was just paying rent for his tent. But yeah, we're seeing the Zora area check. This makes a lot of sense. You're already fake flippering. You have 500 rupees. Like, go do it. Get it out of the way, even though it's out of logic.
Some bombs. Well, there is our glove there, and that opens up Dark World.
Where I missed it?
Glove was in Saha's closet.
Saha's closet? Okay, I'm just looking at where our runners are, and I'm going, which location did I not see?
Yeah,
I was looking on the left side of the screen in that moment.
But yeah, VixRyder pulled up the gauntlets. That is the key item that we need to get access into the Dark World, and this is looking to be going back to the sewer part just so they can get some bombs. Since now they have some bombs. Same thing IBKarma is doing.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think we're going to see a dip into Eastern at this
Yeah,
point.
this is
right?
Yeah.
As a runner that knows they have Dark World access, you'd rather go into Dark World, check it all out, and come back to Eastern when you have a bow.
Yep.
And then the seed does something mean, like putting 2 bows in Eastern.
Don't jinx the seed like that.
I don't think I've actually ever seen that, but it's fun to think about, isn't it?
Kind of, because I almost did Commentator's Curse on a seed at some point too, but we'll say that for a rainy day at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does look like VixRyder will be our second runner, as IBKarma is going to check in our hype cave. Let us rate how this hype cave will be.
Not hype. I'm calling it in advance. Hype Cave rarely has hype anymore.
Okay, Blue Mail's kind of hype. You gotta give points for that.
It's okay. Oh, half magic
magic.
slice. That'll. Oh, whoa!
Let's go.
Okay, yeah. That was a good hype cave.
That was a solid 9 out of 10 right there.
Might be a little high for me, but it was definitely a solid. It was definitely a solid hype cave. The Blue Mail, because they still have 3 hearts, is actually pretty nice.
Yeah, that one makes it pretty hype. Like 3 hearts in Dark World is a nightmare on Green Mail, because not only you taking like 2 to 4 hearts depending on the enemy, but yeah, you need that added defense. It's a mandatory at this point if you're like below 5.
Yeah, depends on the runner. We have some runners in this tournament that are very confident in their 3 heart completion of these games.
And I will be the more power to them, but as it stands right now in a racing setting, I will be happy pulling up that Blue Mail at any given time, especially if it's very early.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. The problem as you get later is that death warp we were talking about earlier gets very difficult if you don't find the mirror and you have a lot of mail and a lot of hearts. Oh, Digging Game just has arrows. I don't know who buried the arrows over there, but we're not even going to take them on IBKarma's side.
Something that we did forget to point out is Samora Kane being over there in the waterfall ferry. So that's going to be very useful for doing if our runners feel very, very inclined to do Ice Palace. But we ain't got no fire rod or bomb. Well, wait, no, our runners have bomb bosses. So that is a option to just fake flipper and go right into there. And we get hook shot in the Thieves Town dungeon.
By the way, that Bombos was right next to the Canis Mario you were talking about.
I didn't pay attention to that part because I just glanced over.
Yeah, see, we have trackers that help us out, so that's what I was reading.
Do give them a follow for doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, trackers are the key behind the scenes because we get to talk, but they're the ones making sure we don't miss anything. So, interesting, we do have armlx going over to right side Death World. I mean, at 3 hearts, it is Death World, but I mean Dark World.
You ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. Like, even with Blue Mail, you can still end up just catching something furious there. But, the emergence to Dark World for Crystal Roller Crew will help them out in getting more information. So, flippers, okay.
I found another use for the Cane of Samaria. We can now use it for glitches in. No, we can't. We have no mirror.
Yeah, we have no mirror.
Let's not listen to me.
You're getting a little 2 steps ahead of us right here, but yeah.
I was excited when you were talking about it earlier. I was going, hey, I can talk about the other Cane of Samaria glitch, and forgot we needed a mirror.
But yeah, those flippers put the Waterfall Fairy into logic finally, so we don't have to worry about the $1 million question of where did these items come from.
Hold on though, those flippers were on Pyramid Ledge. Where was the other glove? The other glove was in Dark World.
Yeah, the other glove was in Dark World. The first glove was in.
Oh, okay, that was fine. Yeah, it was in Saha's closet.
Saha's closet.
Okay, so we're clean, we're in logic, nothing ridiculous there. For a moment I thought Aga's climb was a required climb, but it's not because that glove was in a reasonable location.
If that was the case, I would have said it right off the bat.
Yeah, not logically required. For a moment I was thinking about it, but yeah, no, that glove was fine. Okay.
Catfish is giving us some explosives, which is what we don't really need, so... That prompted the saving push from armlx. I'm going to assume that they're going to be doing some other checks elsewhere with what they got going.
Yeah, so we actually have a lot of the items we need. We did get a map check on one of our runners, so we know where all the crystals and pendants are. For that, just take a quick look at the tracker to our viewers. But
and as someone in chat pointed out, the worst thing that could happen in the seat is Ice Rod and GT. I mean, do not jinx us, please.
Yeah, we could get a bow in some ridiculous places as well.
Well, Eastern Palace requires a bow, so we're going to be spared from that, unless we're talking about progression bow, which means silvers will be in GT, and that we can live without.
Sure, silver's behind Ice Trinax and the first bow in Eastern. Right? Like, they can still be in some pretty ridiculous locations that our runners wouldn't want to see, but I'm sure chat would be having some fun, except maybe the teammates of our runners watching this right now.
Meanwhile, VixRyder is taking on our very first boss for this run.
Hey!
And he's following the script nearly to a T. Actually, no, never mind. He is doing it to a T as he finishes off very, very quickly.
I think Blind was a little bit too far left for the normal script. That said, it was done very well.
Probably because it got hit here and there, but still made it up by being able to get it in just in time.
I mean, as long as you know the first 2 phases of that, the third one's not normally too bad. And just to be clear there, for any new viewers, new runners, Blind will do the exact same thing every time you walk in for the first time. So if you stand in the exact same place and hit Blind in the exact same spot, he will always end up in the exact same location. So it's a pretty easy kill once you know where to stand. As long as you have a sword. Then comes Blind, or Hammer Blind. So armlx is in a dark room.
He's going towards Death Mountain.
I don't think we've seen anyone up there yet.
Yeah, no one hasn't come up to Death Mountain just yet, so my guesses are, because Hookshot is in play, there may be something in Death Mountain there can, hopefully pull up to see what they can get. But this divergence is welcome.
Yeah, and it's actually a great play, because if you have one runner that can just go up here and check, 5... There's, 8 items on the right here, plus Old Man, plus the ones up on the other side. So you've got, 10 items here?
Yeah.
I think.
You can go to Tower of Hair while we're, while we're here. Tower of Hair, you can go check out Turtle Rock, you can check out Hookshot. There is a lot of things you could do in Death Mountain right now, thanks to the
we have Dark World access. Yeah, no, that's 10 in Light World, plus Tower of Hair, plus Dark World, which is another 2, 4, 6, like 6 more checks. There's like 20 checks up here minimum, and there's a fire rod right off the bat.
All right,
Pays off. First room.
So I'm going to guess IBKarma is going to follow suit because they want that fire rod, so they don't have to deal with going into Skull Woods without, you know, dealing with all the extra curricular activities there.
I mean,
which would make a lot of sense.
That fire rod's going to be great because it helps with ice, it helps with Skull. We're going to need it before Turtle Rock, but it's kind of along the way.
Meanwhile, Joss deploying the fake potion to get rid of the Mimics, to get into the right side of House of Darkness. Very, very great work breaking the logic here in deploying these glitches to get through this section of the map, which awards him a few keys. And he's going to Death Warp, which I'm going to assume is to either leave the dungeon or...
That's interesting, because he has hammers, so he could have just jumped down. So he must be leaving? No. Oh, he's already opened the front door.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he opened the front door already, which is why he's doing this. If he didn't, he would have been saving that key, the 2 keys that he would have.
No, I feel like it's faster just to jump down with a hammer than to do this whole Death Warp and walk back.
You probably have to deal with the beetles, though, and that's why they did the Death Warp there.
Oh, no boots to jump up and didn't want to fight. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
That's a pretty reasonable decision there. We just took a death on armlx's side. I don't think that was on purpose. It was not. Just watching a quick instant replay here. The fire enemies in here, I don't know their name. Got him. Put a little fireball right on the stairs. That's a bow.
So bow and Tower of Hera is a pretty interesting thing to come across.
So all those rude places for the bow that I was talking about, they're all resolved.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff up here, and our runners are going to be eating well tonight from the looks of it.
Yeah, like we have, like, what do we? Okay, so let's put it this way: what do we need to finish the game? I know, it's 22 minutes in, but I'm honestly asking this question.
We'll still need the flute. We will still need the mirror. We will still need Ice Rod. We will potentially need the boots, depending on what our item layout is for Desert Palace. And I do believe we just need to figure out where the last medallion is at, or hope that our 2 medallions that we have on hand is the entries for VixRyder and Turtle Rock, and we're good to go. Oh, and of course, Master Sword. Can't leave without Master Sword.
Well, of course.
And armlx is going to acquire their first pendant. That's 1 dungeon cleared apiece for Crystal Roller Crew, putting them much closer to achieving the Seed's goal.
There's, I just got confirmation. It is a Kodongo. I had to figure out the name of that little fire enemy from Tower of Hera.
I was going to call them the Dongos for a moment, but then I realized no, that's
close.
not. That's the first Legend of Zelda game,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's a Kodongo. Yeah, okay, that is not a name I knew. So yeah, we all learned something. I learned something today. Hopefully, everybody else learned something new.
Unfortunately, this is going to give Joss the rundown that Tower of Hera has the bow, which Joss had avoided for the most part to get through the Palace of Darkness, and they're saving and quitting. And he's going to start kicking himself in the foot for being unable to do that. Meanwhile, Coffee Break Room gives us the shield, not the shield, but the shovel. Start with an S, same letter, Don't judge me.
I'm pretty sure IBKarma just tried to bum jump there and accidentally walked into the pit. Ah, that's better though.
Yeah, that looks like a good position. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you talk about Joss with the pod, it definitely feels bad, but pod has a lot of items. So if one of the runners of one of these teams knows what's in pod and if it's required, the other one can just kind of totally skip it.
Yeah.
So odds are you're probably going to have somebody full clear it one way or the other. So it's a little bit of a time sink because it takes a little bit of time to get there, but it's not horrible.
It's not bad, but
you don't want to do it, like as you said.
You don't want to do it. Like, I feel like as far as like running goes, if you can find another option to do instead of it, I would take that any day of the week.
Agreed. It just takes too long to walk there. Well, we do have Spike Cave being checked here.
And Spike Cave gives us a piece of heart. Unfortunate, but oh, that's okay.
So the cave that made us lose like 7 hearts now gives us a piece of heart? That's not fair.
This is one of those life lessons. Love hurts.
Love hurts. I like that. I gotta remember that one.
I believe IBKarma probably went up to Tower of Hera first before going to Paradox. No, wait, Firewall was in Paradox, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was in the 2 cave, the 2 chest cave.
Right.
I can never remember if that's upper or lower because Paradox Cave confuses me, which is why it's called Paradox Cave. There's a reason we gave it that name in the community, because it doesn't make sense. And for the record, if anyone doesn't know the origin of that, open up the game, walk into one entrance, decide whether it's the upper or lower, and then walk out the other one, and it will no longer make sense.
Meanwhile, armlx is going to turn in our mushroom. We're going to see what our mushroom yields for us today.
What did the witch cook us? The witch cooked us a bee.
A bee in a bottle.
I mean, I figure the witch has the bottle already because that's what the potions go into. But before I finish, we have another boss fight.
Yep, it's going to be against Morty, and I don't think Morty... Oh, I spoke too soon!
Oh,
I was like, I don't think Morty pushed anyone off yet, and lo and behold!
I didn't actually notice, but VixRyder actually finished that fight earlier already, so...
Yeah, he finished it with a spectacular fashion, but yeah.
Well, this is the Moldorm enemy at the top of Tower of Hera. This boss has been nicknamed Trolldorm, and you can see why.
I just call him Morty. I don't know why. I just call him Morty.
That's fair, but you know, there's a reason the nickname for this boss is Trolldorm. And if the first time you play this game, you will feel the troll. You get knocked off. Do not get knocked into that middle pit. It will actually knock you down 2 floors, not 1. So if you're learning the game and you're gonna get knocked off the side, not the middle.
Meanwhile, with the bow in hand, armlx is going to go ahead and probably take care of both Eastern and Palace of Darkness. I was going to say Death Mountain, because Vix is in Death Mountain, Dark World, doing these huge checks here.
Death Mountain, Dark World, isn't that with what the way I was describing it earlier? It's Death World, Dark Mountain, right? I mean, that's actually pretty accurate for that particular part of the world.
Yeah,
because if we want to talk about the enemies doing a lot of damage in Dark World, the Death Mountain Dark World enemies are meant to be end game enemies, and they do a lot of damage.
Yeah, without blue now, you might as well just if you're on 3 hearts, you might as well just go elsewhere at this point. Unless you have Cape, which was in Paradox Cave. Cape will save you a lot in this area.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
You get
The
some
problem with
literacy.
Fighter Sword is that it just doesn't do enough damage to a lot of those Dark World Death Mountain enemies.
Yeah, that's why you bypass them all with the cave. But yeah, in Hookshot Cave we do get some literacy along with some other goodies. But
And
the
boss
literacy
fight
is gonna
going
be
on
important.
Joss's side. Quickly here. But continue, sorry.
But yeah, that literacy will come in handy for Desert Palace, as well as checking the Ether and Bombo Sablets to see what other items maybe hold.
Where's this mirror?
We don't know. And we're gonna,
Right? Like, that's what's...
We're
Because you can get you can get into... Oh, we're actually missing Flute, too. But you can get into Desert the back way if you had mirror, but we don't even have that. No boots, no flute. We're just gonna walk back and forth across the entire world.
Yeah, our big transportation items, the big three, the mirror, the flute, and the boots, are nowhere to be seen in this seed. I would like to wager a guess that one of them is in a pendant dungeon. Definitely not Turtle Rock, for sure. No, wait, no.
Could be.
You can't enter in Turtle Rock, can you? Because of Snora. Oh my goodness.
Any one of those items could actually be in... All three of them could be in Turtle Rock.
That would be rude.
Can you imagine? We find all three of those in Turtle Rock? That would be... Or, you know what? They're all on Laser Bridge. One by one. You just get one after another after another.
You just find them all and don't find the ice rod, so you can't even finish Turtle Rock, even if you wanted to.
To the runners, if you're watching this afterwards and something like that happens, I apologize.
You're not sorry for that.
I'm sorry they have to endure it if it happens. I think it's great for our viewers.
But yeah, both Armless and VixRyder going through Eastern Palace with the full intent of clearing this out, and thanks to the information that Josh knows, VixRyder will have an easier time dealing with Palace of Darkness.
Oh yeah, Vix is just going to go right through and finish it. I don't think Josh found anything important.
Yeah, there was nothing important at all in there, so you can just run in there, one and done. Yep. Meanwhile, Armlix will have to venture through it and do all the checks there and see what's going on.
For sure. From a team-to-team perspective, that's already been done on that on the struggler side. Just for the record, right there, IBKarma actually, unfortunately, got the statue a little bit too far to the left. So I had to reset, but got there and got the red mail. You know what? At this number of hearts, that's still a really convenient upgrade.
I want to not argue. Like I said before, picking up any kind of mails at this point, especially if I'm not last locationing anything, makes me happy. Because that means I'm allowed to take more pain at this point before dying.
For sure. Meanwhile, we're going to have IBKarma checking the back here of Skull Woods. Joss is back in Dark World. Gonna see where we're going here. We've already cleared Thieves Town, so that's not the check. Are we gonna get the North Dark World checks? No. Where are we going?
I can only assume it'll be Pet Cave. I forgot what.
That's a long walk for one check. Oh, do we know there's something in there?
I don't.
Someone checked it already. I just don't know.
Oh,
we're doing all that for purple chest. That is a long walk for purple chest. It could be that they're thinking there aren't too many options left.
They have Death Mountain though, and that's the problem. Tower Repair has your bow, has your fire rod, has your cape. I feel like you would be going to Death Mountain at this point if you're running out of options. Get that out the way now, so that way when you start doing all these other checks, you'll be able to do the other places that are along the way. Like, see, turning in this chest, where are you going to go to now?
Yeah.
You don't have the
agree. It's not... It wasn't the best roading, necessarily. I get the logic. They're trying to check something that they haven't checked, knowing that they're Joss is going to have to go up and get those items down the road eventually. But you're right. Like, if you go up the mountain first, you get the book. Then when you come over here, you can go straight into the desert and do that check as well. I guess Joss was coming down here because...
They're gonna go to Ice Palace. This is the only thing that they probably they can feasibly do, because you already checked Ice Cave and all that stuff. You already did Broken our logic to get to Hobo, into Waterfall Ferry, and did Zora.
I don't know. That feels like a really long walk just to get to Ice, the detour all the way to Purple Chest.
Well, they don't have flute, or they don't have a. Well, I guess you can save and quit.
Joss doesn't even have Fire Rod. This is all going to be done with combos.
Yep.
Which means we're going to see Hammer Cold Stare.
Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about that, because even if you do have Blue Mail, Hammer Cold still can be a menace. Though, if you really feel confident in doing Hammer, more power to you. But a lot of the times, if you're not really experienced or not really accustomed to dealing with hammers, you're going to find it's a very bad time to do.
I'm pretty sure Joss is pretty comfortable with that. I've seen Joss play quite a few times, so I think he's going to be okay. But still, you know, it's one of those things of, it's still nice, it's still faster, it still helps, but well, I guess we'll see what comes out of this.
They get to do Icebreaker though, so can't complain about that.
So, though speaking of these players and their experience, I guess, both runners on the Strugglers are runners returning from last year. They actually played together last year along with their third teammate. This team stayed together with Dark Diplomat, who's actually one of our trackers. IBKarma is a returning player from a number of seasons now. I think it's his third season playing, but armlx is new to our tournament here. New to the league. This is his first ever game in the ALTTPR league.
That's one of the joys about Open. You get a lot of new players stepping up to the plate, and you get to see how they perform. And most of the time, it's pretty well. And we just see a Boots on just side Ice Palace. So
there it is.
That's paying off already in dividends.
Honestly, those boots might give Joss enough speed to finish up that mountain so much faster that doing this first may have just made up all the time that we were talking about.
Yep. Also, I agree with chat. Early big key in Ice Palace is also a very good thing too. And then, oh my god! Flute too? Excuse me, Seed? What?
So, Joss has the God Vision for this. Just go straight for the dungeon with all the movement.
I'm just gonna sit down and be quiet now. I've been talking about how this rotting was all weird and such, and I'm like, okay, you know what? No, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
Well, here's the thing. The Strugglers, they're no longer struggling. They have the movement items they need. This should be good now.
Yeah, but Vix is definitely going to come to Ice Palace as soon as possible so they can get their boots and flute.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. We haven't found Lamp yet. So that was the logical access to to Death Mountain. We actually have logical access now to all of those other items we just found. That could have been a big thing too. That Strugglers may have been trying to figure out where the logic was for all those items. Because everything they found on Death Mountain was out of logic.
That is correct, yeah.
And in that case, it's actually a really good play to try to figure out where on earth this game was trying to get you to go. Is there something they're missing and trying to understand where it came from? That makes a lot of sense. If that's the reason for this play, it was very well thought out.
And we get our Cold Stare fight with Hammer and Fighter Sword. And those got already on one heart, and this is not looking too spectacular, but just need to keep their distance. You have an easier time landing the hammer if you're on top of the cold stairs. But outside that, the fall.
And that's the rough part about doing Ice Palace with just Fighter Sword. And the other thing is that if you're ever in the situation and you're at one heart, one important kind of thing you can try to remember is hug the top wall. Because if you're right along the top wall, those ice puffs, for lack of a better term, I'm not sure what we call them actually, they don't split into four. They'll just fall and they'll just stay there. So you're much less likely to get hit.
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate, but that save and quit going to do the checks for the boots.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's just going to lose Joss a lot of time because Joss now has to redo that entire dungeon.
Well, they could redo the entire dungeon, but they have boots now. It's a loss of time in doing the dungeon, but they made up in it in requiring two crucial items here. And I think that makes up for it, because now VixRyder will be able to go into it knowing what is what.
Oh, for sure. I'm just comparing that particular death in that circumstance is unfortunate.
Yeah, that death is rough, but you was going in there with Fighter Sword Hammer. You can always leave out of there and go back into it when you have better gear.
Oh, whoa. Where was that Master Sword? IBKarma has a Master Sword. Pyramid Fairy, right? That's where Karma just was. Yes. Okay, so Vanilla Sword. We got our tier 4 sword location and it gave us Master Sword, so technically we have enough swords to finish the game. Though these runners are probably hoping they don't have to do that. I don't know about you, Esper Hub, but I don't like doing Ganon with a Master Sword.
I have done it a few times. I think that was one of the things I started practicing doing, like, after a while. Especially when I was, doing a particular qualifier run 2 years ago. I ended up being at a very good pacing, and, I was like, oh, I have to do Master Sword Ganon. And it took me like 10 to 15 whole minutes to finish that up.
The thing is that, like, Master Sword Ganon really isn't that bad if you have, we just found a sword.
So,
if you have silvers. But Joss has found another sword. Over there in Meyer Shed, I think. Yeah, Meyer Shed.
Yep. So our runners are definitely going to be coming across their temper. Like, temper's guaranteed in this.
Yeah, so far, it's interesting. Both teams have access to Master Sword, not knowing where the other team's one is. That Pyramid Fairy is kind of an interesting thing. The strugglers should find it. But it's one of those locations that you could kind of skip.
See, well, this is the thing. Eastern and Skull Woods are red crystals. So probably by the time they start going into Ice Palace or something like that, they'll probably end up going to Pyramid Fairy to get that Tempered Sword. Try to see if they can find an upgrade. And they'll come across Tempered Sword and will be satisfied. At least that's what I'm going to assume will happen. This is my theory.
My concern is if they find the Ice Rod somewhere, then they might just leave off that check.
Wait, why would Ice Rod deter them from taking care of Eastern and Skull Woods at this point?
It's not. I'm talking about going all the way to Pyramid Fairy.
Oh.
Like, Joss and Vix don't particularly have a reason to go to Pyramid Fairy, right? If they find the other items they need.
But they know the item information to finish both of those dungeons, is what I'm arguing about.
Oh no, you're right. I'm just saying, let's just say they find right? Like if right now they already have bow, right? If they find ice rod, and they have bow, if they find ice rod, they can literally finish every dungeon.
Oh yeah, yeah. They can.
Right?
Yeah, if they find ice rod, they can start going to go mode. And if that's the case, they will probably.
If you do that, if you're in go mode, are you gonna stop at Pyramid Fairy? Because I'm not.
Nah, I wouldn't. I'll be hoping that the swords will be in GT and get
right.
built that way.
Whereas at least Crystal Roller Crew, I could see somebody walking into Mire Shed, right?
Yeah.
You're going into Mire. Let's check these two, see if there's something here.
Another thing to note is that we do not have Mirror yet.
Yeah,
we don't have
that's
Mirror.
A big one. You're right. We need Ice Rod and Mirror.
So regardless of if they're two items from Go mode, so to say, theoretically, but this is a matter of how they route that Go mode in.
It really depends on where those items are. Like, there aren't too many locations. We had some. I swear we had somebody go into desert, right?
No, we had some. Well, wait,
I thought somebody walked in.
Someone went into desert to do the Misery Mire cave, which was
But I thought somebody entered the dungeon. I could be wrong.
They don't have. Well, they have book, so they can.
Yeah.
They went into there and.
Here's Cold Stare with Fire Rod. IBKarma showing the major difference between walking in here with Fire Rod and Fighter Sword. Oh, apparently no one went in. I could have sworn somebody walked into that dungeon. Okay.
Well,
so Desert, Mire, Turtle Rock are still kind of open locations for us. Swamp we can't do until we find that mirror. Armlx finds those boots, but IBKarma's already told him where that is.
And they're gonna get their flute very soon.
This is interesting that both runners are in this dungeon basically at the same time. Doesn't happen too often in co-ops. Especially when we're still looking for items.
Well, it's flute and boots. If I was I was the partner being told flute and boots are in Ice Palace and I already got like a fire rod or bombos, I would be going in here in a heartbeat.
I agree with you. I'm not sure when Armlx followed in, but I agree. If that's the Armlx accidentally isolates the big chest. I don't remember if there was something important.
That was the flute. That was
the flute? Ooh,
no,
okay.
No. It wasn't the flute. Never mind.
I didn't think it was. But...
What was it in there? I don't remember. Well, 300. Okay. VixRyder going to do some other checks, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, wait. They must have realized they got in the red crystals. I'm just seeing a hammer being pulled out. So I'm going I'm going to assume that this is the Pyramid Fairy check.
Yeah, at this point, that makes sense.
They can also pick up their flippers while they're over there, too. So this makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I mean... Vix has to go over there to get the flippers at some point. You may as well bring the bomb over while you're getting those flippers and get that check in. So this is actually pretty good for the strugglers because they will know where that sword is.
What was the interest to Misery Mire? Did any of our runners check it?
No, had anybody go in there quite yet.
Meanwhile, IBKarma is going to check out Desert Palace for us for the first time.
Yeah, there we go. You're going to get some interesting checks here. We do have all 3 medallions on Joss's side, though, so whatever medallion's required, we know we have it.
Man, that will be a, really rude if the, just the mirrors and pedestal.
Yeah,
Or-
it can be there. Oh! No, never mind.
You got me all excited now. As I was ready for hearing the degenerate routing needed to get our mirror at this point.
No, unfortunately, if mirror ends up on there, nothing can really lock anything anymore. Because we're really only looking for that in Ice Rod. And Ice Rod can't be on pedestal.
Yeah, Ice Rod can be on pedestal because Center Rock is a pendant.
And mirror is required for Swamp, so it's required for GT access. So those 2 items on. Ooh, Joss got dead rocked.
Dead rocked.
Those are one of my least favorite enemies in the game. They're not even difficult. They're just annoying.
They're there to stop you.
They are the annoying enemy of the game. They're not hard. Although in Light World they can kill you, not because they're going to kill you, but because they block you from walking anywhere, and then a rock lands on your head.
We are going to see armlx going into Misery Mire while IBKarma is going to finish up their Desert Palace. So this is a very interesting Light World, Dark World interaction here. But both of our runners from the Crystal Roller crew going to try to get this these two dungeons finished up because they're just sitting there. They're in a little corner pocket of the world.
We have a number of viewers watching us live. I'm curious to our viewers here. What do you think our next 2 items are? Where is that mirror? Where is that Ice Rod? Give us your guesses. Let us know. Joss is going to have a little bit of problems here because that Master Sword does not hurt Lionels. So if you get near them, you just run your face into them.
I mean, try as he might to stab it into the face of the lion, though, it's not going to work.
It's definitely a scary little thing when you have Master Fighter and you're dashing in that area and the Lionel shows up in front of you and you just take half your health.
It's only scary in It's only scary when it's an immunizer and you just find a Lionel in the escape sequence.
Oh, no. It's when you walk into a chicken hut and you find 3 Lionels in there. That's when I walk back out and go, I'll check this later. I'm just not doing this.
And we pulled out silvers in the and Misery Mire. armlx is just gonna
I just want to see if anyone else is really interested in seeing that. Week 7 of our league here is going to be an enemizer. So you want to see ridiculous situations like that, make sure you don't miss those Week 7 games. But silvers, okay, that's always nice. We have a guess of validation chest. I'm not sure which item. I guess that would have to be the Ice Rod, which is the chest past Moldorm 2.
Mirror was on Landmo, by the way. Okay, yeah.
Mirror on Landmo. Oh, I missed that.
As our tracker pointed out.
Yeah, Mad Ewok Herd, our other tracker here. Thank you. Thank you to both our trackers. But wow, so I guess the Ice Rod's the last remaining item. Where is that Ice Rod? It very well could be. But you know what? Moldorm 2 chest is honestly not the worst because we have to do it anyway. I feel like tile room would be worse.
Yeah, I could see that being the worst room.
Because like you're going to
As far
skip
as
it.
GT, yeah.
You're going to do the climb because you're gonna be like, it's gonna be here somewhere. And you're gonna finish the climb, and then you're gonna go, well, now what? Do you go back in and get tile rooms? Do you try to check one of the other locations that haven't been checked?
I would do tile.
Or you know what? GT Big Chest.
And before I even do the climb, I will do GT Big Chest and tile room just to be sure.
Right?
It's
like,
just because I'm that kind of a guy.
I say that though, just because like how often do we get to see GT Big Chest opened in rando?
Never. The moment
Right,
we see Big Key and GT, we're done. We're going straight up to the top after that.
You gotta have one of those. You gotta have one of the randomizers where you have a lower GT entrance crystal requirement, where you have to defeat like 5 or 7 crystals to begin in, but you only need 1 or 2 to get into GT. Then maybe you'll see it, but like it's just so rare. I'd love to see an important item in GT Big Chest.
Vic's taking care of Cold Stare. Gonna put another crystal in the Struggler's belt.
Yeah, so what do we got here? Joss is at 2. Vix is at 6. IBKarma's at 6. And armlx is at 4. So the Crystal Roller Crew's got a little bit of a boss advantage here by 2 bosses.
Yep, and with both of them in Misery Mire, they're going to be finishing up in no time, especially with all the information that they have acquired.
Yeah, armlx is about to be here on 5. That's one thing that the Crystal Roller Crew is doing pretty well. Their runners are matching each other on these crystals. And they're able to both, or not crystals, dungeons, because it's all dungeons. We need everything, including the pendants. Joss gets one. There goes Desert. And gets that. Yeah, gets the mirror. There's the information for strugglers. They know where the mirror is. Armlx? No!
Uh-oh. Yeah, you hate
There was one eyeball left. One small one. Plus the big guy.
That was really unfortunate there, taking a death there, but that's okay. That shouldn't be a huge setback in this dungeon. Well, actually, wait, I take that back. It is kind of a bit of a huge, because you gotta go through the bottom part, the basement, then you gotta deal with those spitters. But yeah, that's unfortunate to go through that.
You're right, it could be worse, but it's not great. Not one of the faster dungeons to get right to the boss.
Which I mentioned, you're doing this without a lantern, which, by the way, still is a rather stressful situation.
Where on earth is it? Like, we've checked a lot, right? And we know it's required by the game to finish a bunch of these crystal dungeons. Like, at this point, it's in Turtle Rock, right?
No. You know where it's at?
Oh, no, it's... Okay.
It has to be in the tablets.
It could be the front of Turtle Rock, though. Oh, it's Swamp. We have Mirror now. Odds are it's in Swamp. If you want to be mean to the runners in terms of game placement, it's like the last non-lamp lock chest in Turtle Rock.
Left side Swamp. I like the way this chat thinks.
Chat's always mean with these things, but you know, that's our job as viewers, to come up with these crazy scenarios to some extent. But we as commentators sometimes have to bring it into reasonability as well.
Speaking of reasonability, while our runners are going through the low part of this seed, do give them a follow on their respective channels. I do believe that our restreamer has dropped the links of where our Twitch streamer runners are doing their, just giving us a great, fantastic view of this seed. Give a follow to our restreamer, who blessed us with the opportunity with this. Artari. Oh my god, I can't even pronounce it.
Arteril is, I believe, it's Arteril.
A follow to our trackers, Dark Diplomat, as well as Maddie Warthurd, and my co-commentator for helping me pronounce things.
Yeah, I've met some of these. I've worked with some of these people in the past, and of course, give that follow over to Esper Hub as well.
You don't want to follow me. I don't stream good stuff. I just stream garbage. And then complain about a seed having Turtle Rock being my last location item placement.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. But everybody involved in this are all volunteers. All the runners just allowing themselves to be restreamed, and all of the commentators, trackers, and everybody else. Just meanwhile, you're on this stream, you're looking at it, hit the follow on the ALTTPR League, and by the end we'll tell you all of the other channels you should be following to keep up with the rest of the games of this tournament. There's a lot of them.
There's going to be a lot throughout these weeks. A lot of races, especially when I want to say especially when we get down to like the wire, when we're starting to get into our placements and the tournament bracket placements. It's going to be very fantastic. I assure you of that.
You know, I think there was at least 6 or 7 different games this evening, and it is a co-op week, meaning we have half as many games as normal this week. Oh no, same number, because we just have to do 2 races. I take that back. Ignore everything I just said. That's not the first time I've said that today, so let's just do that.
I mean, looking on the bright side, we're watching 4 runners do this.
Yeah,
it's twice the racers this week.
Yeah, it's twice the number of racers, but it's the same number of races. So what happens is in every normal week for our newer viewers to the tournament, there are 2 races for each team. One person faces up against one. In the co-op weeks, there's still 2 races. It's just 2 against 2. So there are twice as many racers, but the same number of races. I should know this. I was in the tournament last year. I should know how many games I played.
I lost count.
Unfortunately, we just got a death on Joss's side in the dark room. I think that was that first Meyer dark room. If you don't get set up right, it can be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, the spinners will throw you off really badly in the first dark room.
So there is a setup for this with boots and hookshot.
Yes, there is. I was about to mention it as well, but go ahead, take it away.
I was going to say, yeah, I learned this one at one point. If you dash into the room and you bonk against that first wall, you can hookshot to the left, and you will be standing exactly where you need to lift the pot, and drop the Canis Samaria.
Yeah, it's very intuitive.
Yeah, it's very free, but you need to have both hookshot and cane. So if you are a runner, it's a great way to learn how to do it if you have those items, but at some point you do need to learn how to do it without. But that's my go-to if I have both those items, because it's very consistent.
So it feels like we're getting to the tail end of this seed. It's just a matter of finding the ice rod, and then we'll be in go mode.
Has said almost every ALTTPR commentator at some point. Like, we joke about this. We joke about it, that it's always an ice rod hunt at the end, but it happens so often. Like, as much as we joke about it, it happens. The problem is that Ice Rod is literally, because it's a pendant, because Turtle Rock is a pendant, the only 2 places Ice Rod cannot be is on Ped and on Trinex.
Everything else is free game, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. It is literally any other location in the game.
I'm still hoping it's on the tablets. Just to get it out the way.
The problem for that, at minimum, the strugglers have already finished the Smith chain. because they did purple chests, so they have no reason to go over to Bombo's tablet. I don't think the Crystal Roller Crew have finished it yet, so maybe they could loop it in. If it was on, say, Bombo's tablet. Well, there it is. Crystal Roller Crew, IBKarma taking down. Yeah, I'm pausing for that item. Taking down Argus for that lamp. If you're looking away from the screen. Yes, we just saw a lamp.
Well, that just puts all the logic into place, doesn't it?
Okay, so Flippers were on Mountain. Mirror was...
No, Flippers was on Pyramid Ledge.
They were Pyramid, sorry, I have no idea why I said Mountain. I was actually picturing the Pyramid. Where was Mirror?
Mirror was on Landmos.
Landmo, which meant we needed Book and Fire Rod. Book was on the mountain?
Book was on Darkworld Death Mountain. Hookshot Cave.
Okay. So the Book and the Fire Rod were on Death Mountain, which you needed to get the mirror. Which meant that we needed to get the flute, because it was the only way up there.
Yep.
Right? Because that lamp actually locked access. So you had to go into Ice Palace. Oh, so you had to go up the mountain, get the Fire Rod, go into Ice Palace.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. No!
Get the flute. No, because you can't go up there. Oh, you had to go. Oh, you had to. The logic required Bombo's Ice Palace to get the flute to go up the mountain, to get the Fire Rod to go into desert.
Yep.
To get the lamp. That's wow, game. Wow, that is rude.
Don't think too hard about it. It hurts the brain. Like I know, like
I've got the logical chain now, but that's not nice. So I almost need to kind of figure that out now. It was you got where was Flute?
Flute was in Ice Palace.
Right, Ice.
You need Bombos because you don't get Fire Rod from Death. Fire Rod was locked in Death Mountain.
Yeah, which was so we needed Bombos to get the Flute, which got to Death Mountain, which got to Fire Rod at Book, which got us to Mirror, which got us to Lamp. No. Yeah. Oh god, that's rude. Okay.
Yeah, it is. But meanwhile, Vix did give us the first check of the tablet of Bombos, and that was absolutely nothing. So they started to move on. They're gonna pull up their temper in a moment.
So, on a positive note for strugglers there, that's not going to be anything. But yeah, man, that was... Oh yeah, answering.
You can still go into Landmo if you had the book, which was in...
No, but you needed either Lamp or Fire Rod to get to Landmo. You need a fire source.
Oh.
And Landmo dropped the mirror. Right? So, right. And the mirror locked the lamp.
And the mirror locked... Oh my god.
So the only way to get to Landmo was with the Fire Rod. The Fire Rod was on Death Mountain. The only way to get to Death Mountain was the Flute, and the only way to get the Flute was with Bombos in Ice Palace. So Bombos was required for Ice Palace.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
That's a ridiculous chain, but that is a requirement because we could not get Fire Rod off the mountain to do ice without getting Flute or Lamp, and Lamp is behind the Fire Rod.
Christ, just see.
Yeah, that's when you write it out, because I kind of have a note here because I'm curious what our runners will say later. That's one ridiculous chain. Like that's, the runners are probably happy it's a co-op because, yeah.
Yep. This is probably, we're getting to the tail end, which is looking for Ice Rod now. Which, yeah, just a matter of time. I think we haven't seen Ether Tablet, Pedestal, GT, and, not Tridex, but, Turtle Rock at this point. So it's just a matter of one of our runners going into any of those four to see what's going on.
So the four were Turtle Rock and what?
Turtle Rock, Ganon's Tower, Pedestal, and Ether Tablet.
Well, Ped can't help us right now, right?
Oh, right, yeah. I thought I can't be on Pedestal. Never mind. Nice day. K45, though.
Oh, could be. If nobody's been at K45, it could definitely be there. But yeah, Ped is dead, unfortunately, chat. No hoping for Ped today.
Who knows? Maybe he'll have magic powder.
but hold on. But then what's magic powder locking? Because magic powder still can't lock anything.
Will be locking nothing at this point. I just want magic powder.
Yeah. Joss lit up some of those torches to help with those turtles because, man, this dark room turtles, an unfortunate fight.
This room, to be honest.
What do you say the harder one is?
Misery Mire.
Which one?
The first one, because this is bitters. And trying to align yourself to get the, if you don't have boots or hook shot, it's hard. Because you gotta...
It can be. What I found, though, is, like, once you learn the positioning, you can kind of get around it. The thing is that if you don't make the exact same movement against those turtles, you have no idea where they are in the room. At least in Mire, we got a Mire defeat on VixRyder's side, and Joss has finished a boss in Palace of Darkness, and armlx is finishing up Landmount here. But my thing with Mire is that at least everything is always in the same place. But those turtles, like, if you are one tiny little bit off, they will be in a different place the next time you're in there.
Yeah. Also, IBKarma just checked us the Ethernet tablet. And all they gave us was nothing really of importance, unfortunately. So our hunt for the Ice Rod continues.
Yeah, that hunt for the Ice Rod. Yeah, at this point, like, it's going to be on Laser Bridge, right?
Did any of our runners check Graveyard? The back of Graveyard? This may be what Vix is doing right now. And IBKarma would be our first runner to be in Ganon's Tower. Okay, 20 rupees. Nothing important. It looks like it all falls onto when IBKarma is gonna come across that Ice Rod now in Ganon's Tower, because I can't think of anywhere else. There's our magic powder. There's bombs. A small key. And another small key. I don't think anyone checked left side swamp. And if it's in left side swamp, that'll be hilarious.
Oh God, no one checked it. That's going to be interesting.
Oh, okay. Yep. Nope. Never mind. We found our ice rod in Hope Room. And 1 hour and
so it wasn't
14 minutes. Yeah. 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 40-ish seconds. We are now in go mode for Crystal Roller Crew. They got all the information they needed to be in go mode and to finish up the seed, and they'll be able to do it rather comfortably thanks to the fact that they got Tempered Sword in hand. Well, wait, no. They only have Master Swords. They never went into check into Misery Meyer's shed, did they?
No, yeah, see, that's what I was... Well, that's interesting. I thought that it was going to be the other way around. I thought that the strugglers were going to miss the Pyramid Fairy one. But...
It turns out both runners missing one other sword upgrade.
Oh, nope. We're being told by one of our trackers that our armlx does have a different second sword than Karma, so they know where it is. So it's possible that one may get tempered. The other one is it worth going all the way to Pyramid Fairy for the other one? With silvers, it's probably not.
Nah. If you have silvers with Master Sword, you're going to settle for spinning at this point.
But you know,
unless it's doing that.
I might make that detour for Meyer Shed if it's available.
Yeah, Meyer Shed is pretty quick to get into, so I would make no complaints there. But
the thing is that both runners have already completed Meyer.
But if you're going to get it tempered, like from there, like...
Yeah. No, but my confusion is if they've both completed Meyer, why wouldn't whichever one? Oh, you know what? Karma has Tempered Sword.
Oh, okay.
That's just something probably didn't show up. That's what's happening there. Right, that makes more sense. I was going, why if they knew that there was a sword in Meyer Shed, why would one of the runners skip it? That makes more sense. Okay, that actually solves the question that I had.
If that was the case, I'm kind of confused why armlx went with Master Sword into Swamp, but you know what?
Because armlx is the one that hasn't done Meyer.
No, they did. From the looks of it, they did Meyer already.
I'm saying Meyer Shed, unless they're the ones that did. Maybe they're the ones that didn't get Pyramid Fairy.
Oh right, yeah, that's what it was. They're the ones that that person was the one that did Pyramid Fairy. That could be the case.
And you know, Pyramid Fairy is quite out of the way.
Yes. Especially if you didn't finish Castle Tower to begin with.
Yeah, okay. Confirmation. armlx does not have Pyramid Fairy. That's it. You know, at this point, that's a long way out of the way for a sword.
And here is the troubling part. The strugglers over their side, Vix is going into Turtle Rock. But
without Ice Rod.
This makes sense in the point of view of you want to look for your go mode item and you don't know where it's at in the Death Mountain, so it could be either GT or Turtle Rock. You have to just make that coin flip from there and go from there. Hopefully...
Yeah, this is a little bit surprising just in that they have to do GT in some way, one way or the other, and they could look for the big key while attempting to find that Ice Rod.
In this situation, I feel like this is justifiable, sort of. Where you have all your items except your go mode item to clear this pendant dungeon. So you have the choice of either going to GT or Turtle Rock. I want to say going to Turtle Rock first can be justifiable.
Yeah, it's definitely a justifiable one. I'm just kind of wondering about the if you end up doing a GT first, at least the basement. you can find out where that big key is, and if Ice Rod is there on the way to the big key, you might lose a little bit of time running back to Turtle Rock, but if you find that Ice Rod, you save a lot of time, whereas if you have to walk all the way through Turtle Rock again, you're going to lose a lot more time.
It's quite a bit of a conundrum, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a gamble either way. Yeah, like if it's upstairs in GT, it hurts no matter what you do. But if it's in the basement, which is where it is, you can jump out of GT before finishing it, go do Turtle Rock, and then go do GT again. Right, so I'm wondering, because like you're gonna have to clear the basement of GT one way or the other looking for that big key, because this is not a key sanity mode.
Yeah.
If you're looking for key sanity, that's coming up later in. Actually, is it? It's not.
I think it's inverted next week.
Is it in Vrosia key sanity mode?
No.
I'm blanking. That's next week. And Vrosia is just big keys. Yeah, we don't actually have a lot of key sanity modes. I'm not sure if Retrance might have... Oh, Cross Keys is in week 6. Okay, let's go this. You want key sanity, go watch Cross Keys in week 6. There's that.
Alright.
There we go. I knew there was a mode that had it. We have a lot of different game modes coming up over the next 7 weeks of this league. So if you're watching and you want to see some crazy things, keep an eye out on this week and future weeks. So we're finishing up Trinex there on IBKarma side.
And not too far off from them, well, kind of far off, given how long this dungeon is, armlx is going to be following suit to finish up this dungeon as well.
So is VixRyder, though.
VixRyder doesn't have the Ice Rod, though. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah, we're still waiting on Ice Rod. Yeah, unfortunately, at this point, this really is Crystal Roller Crew's game to win or lose. They have every required item. They're in the last dungeon. IBKarma's done.
Yeah, unless Josh somehow pulls a Giga Chad brain tier and say screw Ice Pals, go to not screw Ice Pals, but get the rest of their crystals and get to GT in time before VixRyder can even go to Laser Bridge, which is kind of impossible now.
Yeah, but I think at this point, when Joss finishes Ice, Joss is heading over to Meyer. Because Joss still has to finish Meyer on top of Ice.
Yeah.
So he's going to let Vix find this last Ice Rod for him, but it's just... The Crystal Roller Crew did a really good job of splitting everybody up and making sure everybody kind of got an equal number of crystals throughout.
I feel like they kind of made it a motto of if you have the necessary items to clear a specific dungeon, go ahead and do that at some point while I check for additional stuff, which they've been kind of been good on doing so far.
Yeah, very much that. Like, if you're playing a co-op and, you're still looking for a few items, but you can clear 1 or 2 dungeons, you can go with each other. Oh, we are getting confirmation that actually Joss did complete Meyer. So it's not as negative as the tracker looked in that moment.
Yeah.
But still, so Joss will go up the mountain next one way or the other. Joss is also going to know Turtle Rock is not the answer. But that just means they're both going to be in GT.
Yeah, both of them are going to be in GT after they finish with the Cold Stare run back, and down goes the Cold Stare.
Oh. Karma's found the gold sword. So, I guess there's that. Ooh, there the arrow missed. The last sword was actually on Trinex, so everyone's gonna pick up an extra sword along the way.
Yay!
And the thing is that the gold sword, or nicknamed the butter sword, is not a huge upgrade over tempered for these runners. If you're learning the game, you're gonna really want it. But the thing is that a spin with a tempered sword is the same damage as the slash with the gold, so it's not a huge difference. And on Ganon, there is no difference. On the most part, it's a little bit better, but.
And I do believe VixRyder just pulled out their ice rod. So they're now marching right back into Trinex.
Oh yeah, Vix is not happy with that. We're taking a death on Vix's side?
Because they can go to the light world this way, if I'm not mistaken.
But why?
Save a portal. They probably made a portal either on Laser Bridge and whatchamacallit.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Okay, you save the bridge if you save the portal like that, the TR play is not bad.
Neat, and plus that Joss now has information that TR has not TR, but GT has the ice rod. Oh my!
I just want to say that Moldorm 2 is just as trolly as Moldorm 1 and has knocked Karma off again. I don't remember who got knocked off the first time that we were talking about, but you know, this particular guy likes to knock everybody off. Armlx having a little bit of an issue with Trinex, but does get Trinex down with 2 hearts left. So we're good. Gonna get that tempered sword. Gonna be happy with it, and going to be heading over to GT.
So yeah, the only way Crystal, like you said, the only way Crystal Rollers can lose is if Armlx ends up taking an unfortunate death during the GT climb, but I don't think that's gonna happen. They're well prepared.
Honestly, this would require Karma dying once or twice to Ganon on top of Armlx losing on the climb. Like there's a good bit of time here. It's unfortunately for the strugglers, they're relying on opponents' mistakes now.
They don't know it, but we're
they don't know.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to watch each other's screens. This isn't a pilot mode. We don't have one of those this season. Actually, there are no pilot modes.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that. But then again, it's not really the most played ones compared to the other ones, so it's understandable.
We had it last season. I piloted 2 races.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, we have a comment. I just need to check. Yeah, we have a comment in chat from the third runner of the strugglers saying that they're struggling. We actually, the little thing about the strugglers, they actually had a name change. This team existed last year, but they were called the Stragglers. So they've changed. They're no longer straggling. They're now struggling. Meanwhile, we do have IBKarma climbing up Aga Tower. So there's a little reminder there for all our viewers. You do have to do every dungeon. That includes Aga Tower. So we have to do, now that we've defeated Aghanim 2 in the final form, we now have to go back and defeat Aghanim 1 the first time. Don't question it. It works for some reason. Meanwhile, we do have armlx trying to finish up the climb here. Okay, so apparently the story behind the name change is that they were one of the last ones to sign up. So that's why they named themselves the Stragglers. That's kind of a cool name. That's kind of a cool story behind that. Looks like we're getting this Aga 1 fight down on Crystal Roller Crew. Meanwhile, armlx is finishing up the tower. Joss is proceeding through Turtle Rock, and VixRyder is climbing the tower as well, just a little bit behind armlx. Unfortunately, with the lead, it looks like both runners of Crystal Roller Crew may be able to finish before we even see a finish from those strugglers.
I've returned. I have to get the door. But
no problem. Unfortunately, it does look like I was saying both Crystal runners may finish. Crystal Roller runners may finish first before we even have a finish from strugglers. Joss took an intentional death there, just walked into a pit a bunch of times, just trying to refill health.
Yeah, dying at that point is a pretty good opportunity to get some refill on the hearts, especially when.
Meanwhile,
oh, go ahead.
No, go.
I was saying, especially if you just now getting to that safety checkpoint.
Yeah, all I wanted to point out is that IBKarma has finished the Aga 1 fight and is fighting Ganon. Looks like we may be getting our first finish, assuming nothing goes wrong in this fight.
Please don't cue Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Right, IBKarma is going to be able to finish this. Silver's Buttered Sword, half magic.
IBKarma is our most veteran runner in the league between these four, too.
Yeah,
no pressure on there.
Yeah, this will be a piece of cake.
No torch glitch, no kind of speedy kill. That's fine. Gonna finish it off. Got a double on the first one, I think. No, maybe not. That's fine.
No doubles. Like, it was just
no
simple,
doubles.
Just simple singles.
Fine. That's okay. armlx knowing, gotta go beat Aga 1 first. Gonna kind of get out of the way as IBKarma crosses the bridge. And IBKarma is our first finisher. Crystal Roller Crew coming in with the first finish with an official time of 1:33:08. Exactly what you see on your screens there, viewers. Get your GGs in chat.
Meanwhile, armlx is making steady progress going to the Aga 1 fight. And over on the struggler side,
they're both fighting bosses. So at this point, the thing is, Vix knows. I'm curious if Vix knows if they're looking at the finish. Because they are allowed to watch the race room to know if somebody finished. So the strugglers may know that IBKarma is done. They have no idea where armlx is.
I feel like once they notice armlx will finish, they'll stop.
They're close enough to the finish. They'll. I think they might actually finish it out. But you know, right here is where you start worrying. You're like, okay, so their faster runner's done. Maybe like we're both pretty close. Like we know where the big key is. We know where everything is. Maybe we can rush it. Like the thing is, the other team doesn't know where that second runner is. And as we saw, like there was a difference between Joss and Vix for a little bit there. The same could have existed for Crystal Roller Crew, where one of the runners was 2 or 3 crystals behind, so there could be a gap. Unfortunately, they don't know that actually armlx is actually ahead of both of them as well. So Vix has joined armlx in Aga Tower. Unfortunately, one's in the first room and the other's in the last.
Meanwhile, Joss is going through the rest of GT. Gonna need to get the big key. I think they was getting small keys just to make sure they have enough.
Yep, just skipping the room there, knowing there's nothing there, just needs the big key.
Down goes Aga 1 for armlx, and they're now going in to fight the big man himself. It's actually a pretty good spin on the first phase. And that's the ideal spot which you want Ganon to be in.
Yeah, well, there goes Sphere, or there goes Sphere. There goes round 2. We're on phase 3 of Ganon now. Takes a hit, not a huge deal. Just don't take this bat to the face.
They managed to great.
That was close. That was close. I thought armlx was going to get hit by that.
And here comes the final phase.
Yep. Meanwhile, Vix is on another boss, Aga 1. Ganon in the first form.
And armlx finishes up the Ganon fight. Get your GGs up for armlx as they cross the bridge, and will be sealing the deal for Crystal Roller Crew getting their win for week 1 for the first match. With a time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 12 seconds.
Yeah, GG's to Crystal Roller coming, both their runners finishing first here.
VixRyder now stepping in to do their Ganon fight. Gold Sword, this is pretty easy. 1 and 1.
Yeah, Gold Sword's a pretty nice, fast thing, kill. With Tempered, you have to spin. With Gold, you can just swipe.
It's torch glitch.
Yep.
Was attempting to get a double there, but didn't have enough time to land the second arrow.
That happens. This looks pretty good, and there's the kill for VixRyder.
And with that, everyone get your GG's out for VixRyder, finishing up for the strugglers at a time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 15 seconds. Not too far from there, Josh is doing their AGA 2 fight, and we'll be going through the castle tower as well. So it shouldn't take that long for him to finish up as well. Yeah, Ganon trigonometry is a little bit difficult sometimes to do it. This is why I probably prefer doing slashes instead of spins, to be honest.
It's weird, like, yes and no and yes and no. It's difficult.
And it's really hard to judge the angles, to be honest.
It really is, and even with swiping or with slashing, it can be difficult to figure that out.
But yeah, Josh finishing up that AGA 2 fight. We're gonna have to proceed into the mirror to go and do the AGA 1 fight, which doesn't require trigonometry at all, thankfully enough. Gotta admit, this sound music makes it pretty fitting to finish up on the sea.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
So hopefully, once Joss finishes up here, we're gonna see if we can get some of the runners in for an interview. There is a delay, so our runners will get a little bit of a break between when they finish and when they come in. I'm looking up. The Crizarola crew completely skipped, I think, the Smith chain. That probably saved them a little bit of time right there.
I think they only did like the first half of it, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think they may have. By the point they got the mirror, I don't think they did the first half at all.
Oh, right. You can still do the first half, but like without mirror, what's the point, kind of, so to say?
Yeah, they just kind of skipped it, I think, completely. Which, that kind of makes up some of that time difference there. They skipped the right things that worked out. That's the big thing for them there. Yeah, I am agreeing with their tracker there. I think they did hammer pegs and just said, and that's enough for now. Watching Joss here finish up AGA 1.
Well, while we're watching them doing this, nice friendly reminder to you all to give these runners a follow in their respective Twitch channels for giving us an amazing show today. Follow our restreamer for giving us the opportunity to commentate and watch this race unfold. Our trackers for keeping up with the action and keeping us informed. And my co-commentator right here. And now we are at the last part with Josh fighting Ganon himself. The Temper Sword, it should be not too difficult. Thankfully, they don't have to rely on that spending that much. You can just well away. Well, I'm surprised they did Blue Potion without using the cape at all. Like, I would have used the cape first before using the Blue Potion, but
Yeah.
use the resources at hand to ensure that I can get this phase out. Oh my, slipping through. So I think they did take damage. Ooh, they're on 2.
That was a little
hearts.
scary right there.
Yeah, that made me clench a little bit. Clench my teeth. That was a little bit scary.
armlx almost died on phase 3, and so did Joss.
Yeah, that's phase 3 ain't no joke if you're not careful. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Or that was phase 2, actually.
Yeah, phase 2.
Joss was phase 2. Phase 3 was armlx.
Just deciding to wait out a little bit just to before lighting the other torch, and they still actually get a shot off before getting hit by the flame bat. Oh, and they took a fall. Was not ready for that to happen. Thankfully, there's a fairy next to the tree here, so they can get a free, quick refill. And with the half magic that they still got, they don't really have to worry about refilling their magic. I mean, unless you want to restock on some blues, perhaps, then sure. But outside of that, just go right back in.
That's unfortunate.
That's all it slashes. That will do it. That should be enough magic to, at the very least, use the lantern.
Yeah, no, I think we should be okay here. I am getting confirmation we will be joined by most of the runners for an interview in a moment. Oh no, silver's my one true weakness. I guess we have the silvers, so that's good. Gonna go for the torch glitch. Definitely makes sense at this level of magic.
Oh, get a quick double tap there. Josh finishing up his Ganon fight. Everyone get your GGs out for Josh as they cross the finish line in the time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 49 seconds. And that will do it for this this one of many races for week 1 between these two teams. They'll have another race this week. Not sure if that will be restreamed or not, but there's still going to be some more restreaming action.
And we are going to be joined by everyone. Just give us one moment. And we will be joined by most of our runners. Welcome to armlx, to IBKarma, and to Joss.
Great
GG's,
there.
everyone.
Thanks, GG's, everybody.
Yeah, GG's.
So how do you feel
So
about that Axlar placement?
Well, I think we feel good. I don't know how well Ross feels.
Butts tonight, man. It was bad.
We were all saying that was a seed where there was a lot of spots where things could get dicey.
Yeah.
we were looking at one point at the logic chain, and man, we had to have a bit of a conversation about that.
Yeah, it wanted you to go up the mountain to get the book after getting flute and ice.
It was even earlier than that. You had to stop by the pyramid to pick up the flippers, to get the bombos from Waterfall, to go into ice to get the flute, to get up to Death Mountain for the fire rod and the book, into Landmo for the mirror, just so you could get Lamp and access the dark rooms.
Yep.
Oh yeah, lamp lock.
You all skipped that because you all fake flippered, but
yeah,
and dark roomed up the mountain. So all of that was irrelevant, but the logic was kind of rough for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever there's a lamp somewhere deep in Dark World, logic starts looking pretty bad if you tried to follow it.
That's why we can't have nice things, and we got to resort to speed run and degeneracy.
Yeah. What did you guys find funnier, the lamp logic chain or the shovel logic chain?
Shovel logic chain, a little
Okay.
bit.
Oh yeah, that was
Arm was sitting there like, you may need it, and I was sitting there like, well, I'm in Hera, and he's like, well, I got mushroom. Hold on, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm grabbing Smolky, and then he's like, it's a bottle, never mind, and I'm like, oh, okay. Fourth one.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's,
So Joss, I saw a little bit of a conversation in the race room, but what happened there with, like, we thought maybe you went into Ice Palace without the fire rod to try to follow the real logic chain because it was out of logic.
I did.
But
I also should have gotten the fire rod and didn't.
Okay.
And then I'm like, well, I'm here. Fighter sword, 7 hearts, green melt. Let's try it.
Well, wait. I think he was on Blue Mail.
Oh, maybe I did have blue mail. Whatever.
Yeah,
it was blue. Blue was really early.
Yeah.
It was really early.
Yeah, no, it was me kind of saying, heck it. If it worked, it worked. But, like, also, we got totally screwed over on the ice rod, so whatever.
Yeah, the ice rod was in a devious spot.
Yeah, that's one of those. I think we did the math, and it was, like 5 checks versus like 20 or 25-ish, and it's like, well, 20% chance that everything's horrible, or like save a couple minutes.
Yeah, and we had been like, well, okay, this seat is just terrible, so it's going to be on Laser Bridge. That's yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, our decision literally came down to, we got into ice late enough that we felt like we were behind to both the boots and the flute, that when we found mirror, we just said, okay, screw it, we're in GT mode.
Yeah. I wonder if I got boots and mirror before you guys did.
Probably.
I think you did.
I got it at about 45 minutes, I believe. I was the first one into ice for our team.
Yeah, they got it earlier.
No, I'm pretty sure, like, strugglers got into ice really early, because that's what we were saying. Joss went in without going up the mountain, or is it? Yeah, it was Joss going in, and our logic, what we made sense of it, was that you were trying to figure out where on earth that flute was, or the lamp, to get the logical access to Death Mountain, and that Ice Palace was a good check for that.
Yeah,
but yeah, the lack of fire rod was just unfortunate at that point.
Yeah, fire rod with the half magic, I could have done it easily. Yeah.
Yeah. We were thinking that lamp was going to be like Eastern or pod, but the pod was bow locked, so like, yeah, or well, the back of pod was bow locked.
The back of pod was bow locked, but back of pod had nothing, so yeah.
Yeah, all of
that was another one. The strugglers cleared that one early, I believe, as well too.
Yeah, I went in there, and then the stupid Dodongos, they got me.
Well, the whole thing with that seed was, we realized very quickly that our answer, because of where everything was hid, was pod or ice. And I told him when we found hookshot, I was like, you just go up the mountain. It's out of logic, but the only way this hurts us is if it's exactly flute and it's easy to get to, like in the front of pod.
Right.
Yeah, I just grabbed the hookshot and then ran ahead of you, clearing out VOO after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other questions unless you do.
I have one. Who's running the next race for you guys this week?
Well, for us, we're running it back.
Yeah. So it's
And
all three of us in
be-
here.
Oh, everyone's running it again.
I think they're changing out their second player. I think it's Dark over in for Vix, right, Joss?
Yes. Yep.
So our tracker here today is going to be joining Joss for the next race.
Quick, Dark, just track everything so we can just go mode it.
If only it worked that way, right?
If only.
Yeah. So the only question I have for you guys is anybody else get scared when I got lost in the dark mire at One Heart?
A little bit.
Oh, I got fucked. Oh,
yeah.
sorry. I got totally screwed over there as well.
Yeah, so
Karma,
about Darkmire, Joss. Joss died in the first room. Do you know the setup with boots and hookshot? We were talking about it for a little bit
I do know the setup with boots and hookshot, and I was doing that, and I kept getting hit by the stupid fire bars.
Oh, I see. Okay. We were talking about it. It's hard for us to see when it's a dark room as to what happened. So we were going, there's a setup there. We're not quite sure what happened.
I went in, I did it, I laid down the first time, I laid down the red brick just correctly, and then I got sniped by it, and it knocked the thing off. And I tried to reset it, and I didn't, and then I burned a potion trying to get there, and I left, and I came back trying to do it, and I did it again, and I got sniped again. Oh.
Yeah.
That I missed on that. I got the setup, lifted the pot, and then missed the cane. The backup, and then just like in the spike room got stuck somewhere, and that was a disaster.
Yeah.
And then I do the old throw setup.
Yep.
And I tried to do that.
Old and forgotten.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks, I guess, to all of you for being restreamed today. Does anyone have any final thoughts before we close up here?
Yeah, I would take a slightly better seed tomorrow. That one was not horrible. It was fun, but also like 2 in a row of that might be a little much.
I blame Sahabot throwing an error.
That's true. Yeah, we did get a Sahabot error to start.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't think we don't know what's being restreamed tomorrow just quite yet. Trying to bring this up. I don't have it open.
Hey, redemption. Come on.
But to our viewers out there, so the streams for tomorrow are not quite set up yet. But if you're interested in watching more of this and you're watching this, please do make sure you follow this channel, the ALTTPR League, and we have the ALTTPR League 2 through 4, which are used as well. We also have the Invitational going on, which will be streamed here, but also on Speed Gaming. So make sure to keep an eye on Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6 to see what is going on.
Yep, and if you're also looking up the schedule lineup for seeing which team will play which, you can always look that up in the Link to the Past Randomizer League's main website to see the schedule and which weeks will have each mode. And do give a follow to our respective racers over here who did a fantastic job of taking care of this seed in a timely fashion, as well as give a follow to our trackers who did a terrific work of keeping track of all the items, and our restreamer for blessing us the opportunity to be able to commentate and look and watch this race unfold, as well as my co-commentator for helping me stay on the right track.
Of course, always nice to commentate with you, Esper Hub, and definitely give him a follow as well. If you are interested in some more ALTTPR action, I'm just gonna shout out that we actually do have. So we do have one ALTTPR race going on. It's not League anymore because the League races, I believe, have all
Yeah, all
4?
league races have been finished so far.
Unless 4 has finished. There's one on. Yeah, all the league races have finished, but there is a no logic race going over on Speed Gaming 2. So if you are interested in jumping over to another ALTTPR race, a no logic race, you want to see some glitches. We were talking about them today. You want even more. There's going to be a lot of them there. Going on there.
And
Otherwise, you go ahead.
No, you can take us out. Bring us home.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say that. Otherwise, we hope you had a good time with us here tonight, and I've been Zephno, and I'm here with Esper Hub, and we hope you had a great time, and see you next time.
Have a good night.